That's right. We've got a heavyweight clash coming up tonight, 9:30 Eastern Time between number 1 Purdue, 15 Texas Tech, and a championship on the line down in the Bahamas. We're going to tell you all you need to know ahead of that matchup right here on this episode of College Sports Insiders.
This is College Sports Insiders. My name is Mountaineer Paul, and you can find us here where we're doing your daily football and basketball conversations 7 days a week. Let's go. Welcome to the show.
All right, welcome in everybody to another episode of College Sports Insiders. I'm one of your co-hosts here, and my name is Troy, and this is an episode talking about the upcoming matchup between number 1 Purdue and number 15 Texas Tech, both in a way surviving their opening round match on Thursday night. Purdue getting a 9-point win over Memphis, and then Texas Tech with a narrow 1-point win due to a 3-point shot at the buzzer from Wake Forest, but a 1-point win nonetheless, 84-83 over Wake Forest in a back and forth, tightly contested game. But we had a feeling that these two teams were going to meet in the final in the Bahamas for the Baha Mar championship game, and we're getting it. It's a dandy. It's going to be a good one. Purdue, obviously, one of the top teams in the country. Texas Tech not too far behind, and they have probably the best player in the country, if not one of them, preseason All-American for sure, JT Toppin, who's got something to say about that as they're looking to come home from the Bahamas with a couple wins and a big signature win, obviously, against number 1 Purdue. So first, what we're going to do through this episode, we're going to talk you to about what Purdue did to get by Memphis, what that game looked like, some key things, some key numbers to note, because, again, that game just went final yesterday just went final a little bit ago, but I'm recording this the night of and getting it up for you on the game day for Purdue and Texas Tech. And then we'll let you know what Texas Tech did in their win, narrow victory, 1-point win over Wake Forest, some key things there. And then we'll talk about this matchup. Again, I think it's a heavyweight battle. I think these two teams are obviously teams with high aspirations later down the line, and an early season matchup in November gets all of us, I think, geared in, ready to go for basketball season. Nothing like a top 15 matchup playing for a championship. I don't care what it is, 2-team, 4-team, 8-team, 6-team, 16-team, like 32, 64, it don't matter. You're playing for a championship. This is fun. It's in a bracket. This is cool. So, again, this is College Sports Insiders. We cover just about everything on the landscape of college football and basketball. Brand new show starting with myself. Again, my name's Troy, and then Mountaineer Paul with me, who's with Locked On West Virginia. Both of us are Mountaineer fans, but love college sports and love to give you that inside info. So if you can hit that subscribe button for us, subscribe to us on YouTube, leave comments, drop a rating, wherever you're at, wherever you're watching or listening, make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow along with us here on College Sports Insiders. So I mentioned we're going to start with Purdue, and they won their game against Memphis, and it wasn't easy. I watched that one. I always like to say, Memphis somehow is 1-3 on the season. Obviously, they've played some tough teams with, one of them being in this loss to Purdue. Had a loss to Ole Miss and a loss to UNLV as well. But they got some dogs, I like to call them. They always have. They always will. They got some guys on their team. They're going to compete, going to play their butt off, and they did that against Purdue in the Bahamas. It was a 1-point lead at half for Purdue, and again, they won that one by a final score of 80-71. I'll give you some key things from that one. The leading scorer for Purdue was Fletcher Lawyer, had 20 points, including 4 threes for him. The senior guard for them has been at Purdue for a long time. 4-year starter at Purdue, always averaging double figures. Certainly a really impressive career for Fletcher there. He was their leading scorer. Another guy, Trey Kaufman-Rem, familiar name, had a double-double, 12 points, 11 boards, 4 assists. Braden Smith, quiet, 5 points, just 2 of 14 from the field for him, so not his best performance. Talk about someone that's been there a long time. Seems like he's been there since, I don't even know if you're a Mountaineer fan, since like Javon Carter was playing. I don't know. He's been there a while. He did have 11 assists. Obviously, he's incredible passer for these guys year after year after year. Guy who, again, 4-year starter at Purdue. similar to Fletcher. Last year averaged almost 16 points and 9 assists. This year, about 18 points and 9 assists through his team's first few games. So Braden Smith, quiet night. You can bet he'll be licking his chops to get back out there just 24 hours later, right? That's a really kind of cool thing about some of these early season tournaments is you get to play the very next day. So if you had a bad game, you can shake it off and improve the next night. So I think Braden Smith is going to be one that's going to be looking to improve upon a poor shooting night for him. CJ Cox had 18 points in this one. Again, this is a team that scored 80 points. They got it done. CJ Cox, the sophomore, looking to build upon his year from last year at Purdue, 6 points a game last year. But his best performance of the season thus far in this one, 18 points for him. They held Memphis to 4 of 19 3-point shooting, which proved to be a pivotal difference in this one. So they were 11 from 30 for 3 with the Boilermakers, so that made a difference. Memphis got to the line a lot, 17 out of 25. Purdue won the rebounding differential by just 3. Memphis had 12 turnovers compared to 11. But Memphis really, again, they did their job to hang around, and this was a game, and it was scrappy at times, and the benches got, almost cleared at one point because of a little scuffle in the paint. And again, Purdue just able to prevail, able to win this one. Memphis was in it, but Purdue got the win, and it's thanks to some of those guys that I just mentioned that are familiar names, right? If you follow the Boilermakers, there's it's no coincidence that they're ranked number 1 in the country right now because of the talent that they've brought back from an already really talented team. They already have on the year a win at number 8 Alabama, which was last Thursday night, I believe, and another Thursday night, just 1 week ago, and then this Thursday the win over Memphis, and then Friday night a date with the Texas Tech Red Raiders, who we're going to talk about right now. So Texas Tech was the second game in this one, and again, it kind of a similar feel to it. It was just a 1-point game at halftime in both of these games, and Texas Tech happened to be the team that prevailed in this one. They had just a 1-point lead and finished with a 1-point victory. Both teams scored 49 points in the second half, a lot of offense, and really just back and forth. Wake Forest, for many, more than 1 or 2 moments in this second half, you thought maybe Wake Forest was going to pull this thing out. Texas Tech, did their job to kind of chip away, and because early in the second half, Wake Forest had a 7-point lead, dwindled down to 5, then back to 7. And then about midway through that second half, Texas Tech kind of made it even tighter than that, and eventually it just kind of became a flip-flop match down the stretch. Really entertaining game to watch the last several minutes, but Texas Tech prevails. And some of the key numbers for them in this one, the Red Raiders, JT Toppin, again, one of the best players in the country, if not the best, had 21 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, 10 of 19 shooting. In a lot of ways, Wake Forest did a decent job on him. There was a couple plays late that even helped them stay in it because of defense on Toppin. Christian Anderson, another good player for the Red Raiders, had 16 points, 8 assists. In this one, Anderson looking to improve upon a really solid freshman campaign with the Red Raiders. Obviously, we know what they did last season, going up against Florida and coming up just short in the Elite Eight, 84-79. Blown lead in that second half that probably left a sour taste in their mouth and is continuing to. But I'll tell you what, I was, as a Mountaineer fan, as a follower of Big 12 basketball, I was big. I was really big on Texas Tech last season. I picked them to win it in my bracket. And I think if they would have got past Florida, they might have just done it. And they had a really good team last year. But they're back, and they have a really good team this year. Christian Anderson, JT Toppin leading the way for these guys. To go along with a few impact transfers. Donovan Atwell averaging 15 points a game so far. He transfers from UNC Greensboro, where he averaged 13 points a game. Real solid player, 6'5" guard out of Huntersville, North Carolina, who they're looking to have a big impact to this season, and he's off to a great start. They've got some guys, as far as just early season, what you can take away from what they're able to do scoring wise. they got some guys that can fill it up, led by JT Toppin, 24 a game. Again, Anderson at 19.5. They got a three-headed monster, I think, at least so far this season, in JT Toppin, Christian Anderson, and Donovan Atwell. Two guards and a big fella, Toppin, the 6'9 guy, 230, who's just a junior. And, it seems like just with the career that he's been able to have just last season, really, putting his name on the map after one season at New Mexico. Solid player. Happy to have him back, just in the Big 12, and because he's that good and gives the Big 12 a good name with the performances that he puts forth night in and night out. Double machine is JT Toppin, who leads the way. So with that said, JT Toppin, one of the best players in America, and then you've got a matchup with Purdue, and year in, year out, Purdue has got some guys that are huge. They got some guys that are really, really big. One of those this year being Oscar Clough, who comes over from South Dakota State this season with Purdue. Oscar Clough, 6'11 senior. At South Dakota State, he was a machine, 17.5 and 12.5. 17.5 points, 12.5 boards for him. And then this season at Purdue, averaging 11 and 11. So he's a guy you gotta factor into the equation, between his, as far as who's going to be in the paint to disrupt JT Toppin. And what he likes to do, obviously, Trey Kaufman-Renz, 6'9", 240 himself. Really, really good player. Another guy that's been at Purdue forever and coming off an incredible season last year. 36 games played, averaged 20 points and over 6 rebounds. Looking to duplicate those numbers this season. But he's another guy to watch. Down low, banging bodies with JT Toppin. So that's number one. I think it's JT Toppin against these Purdue bigs. And Texas Tech, if they want a shot to knock off number one Purdue, who will be favored in this game, you're going to have to keep JT Toppin out of foul trouble. You're going to have to keep him in the game, on the floor, staying aggressive, but playing aggressive without fouling against these bigs. He's going to be amped up to play against them, but he's got to be careful. You can't lose him in the first few minutes and then go down 15 at half. You got to let him be the best player on the floor. And for him to be the best player on the floor, he's got to be on the floor. So he's got to stay out of foul trouble. I think another key, again, I mentioned it earlier, but Braden Smith is, so good. Best point guard in the country, in my opinion, obviously. Really, really, really talented for Purdue. 17 points, 8 assists a game is just nuts. And he's coming off a poor shooting performance, so look for him to get back going against, again, a couple of those guards we already mentioned for Texas Tech in that matchup. Purdue's really good, but I think Texas Tech can win this game. I really do. I think they can. Am I making a prediction that says they're going to? No, but I think they can definitely win this game, and I think it's gonna come down to JT Toppin. He's the best player, and you need if you're gonna knock off number one, you're gonna need your best player to have one of his best games, and he's certainly more than capable of doing so. You mentioned, we already mentioned Purdue with their big win over Alabama. The only blemish this season for Texas Tech came against Illinois. The Red Raiders took a trip to Illinois on the road. Again, it was Texas Tech was ranked 11th at the time, 14th Illinois, and they beat them by 4 points. It was a furious second half comeback that the Red Raiders had. In that one, they were down 13 at half, but came up just short in the second half, scoring 45 points, but fell short 81-77. And speaking of what their best player did in that game, JT Toppin put up 35 points and 11 rebounds. Christian Anderson had 11 assists in that game. So, again, kind of just a 1-2 punch that they have that's really, really, really impressive. He's a guy just like Braden Smith who can really dish the ball. So in their 5 games this season so far, he's got 11 assists, 7 assists, 11 assists, 7 assists, and 8 assists against Wake Forest, and 16 points in that game. So that point guard matchup might be the best one you'll see all season long between these two guys that can really score it and really spread the ball around. Christian Anderson against Braden Smith. So that's a matchup to watch for. There's just really, really talented players all over the floor in this game. So if you can, tune in. It's going to follow the Memphis and Wake Forest game, which will be the third place game in the Baha Mar Tournament. And then 9:30 Eastern time will be approximately when Texas Tech and Purdue will do battle down in the Bahamas for a championship game between number 1 and number 15. And again, this is College Sports Insiders, your source for all things college football and college basketball. And we will see you next time.